Dr. Marisa Silveri. I direct the Neurodevelopmental Lab in Addictions and Mental Health at McLean Hospital. I'm a neuroscientist by training and late life became a mental health counselor, all in the service of trying to understand the teen brain, looking for risk for addiction and mental health disorders. And then in the publishing and outreach space, I do a lot of community outreach in terms of bringing science to the public. I'm a neuroscience interpreter, and probably my biggest passion between that and mentoring is delivering science to the community. In college, I took what today is neuroscience. I just fell in love with the brain. Understanding the biology of the brain was the frontier of really having this window into the soul and our feelings, emotions, moods, risks, families, all of the components. When I teach people about the teenage brain, I start off by letting them know that, these are things we've known for a long time. Right? And so with the development or the evolution of imaging technology, we actually can confirm what we've known from studying people after brain injury or after they've died. And so what makes it new now? What makes it new now is this evolution of technology that allows us to have a window into the brain that is in real time. But I think as scientists, we have to know that, well, oftentimes we don't publish null findings. And so if we think about all the things that it's not, and all the things that we've found to be significant at some threshold, that is what makes it into peer-reviewed journals, and that's what makes it into the public. And so I think that whole idea of rigor and reproducibility, which is a big, NIH, mandate of how we think about science, and that we are not telling the end of the story. Something that's changed over the last couple decades, particularly at Harvard Medical School, is an acknowledgement that if you do public education and outreach, not even clinical teaching, that there will be some credit as a significant supporting activity. Really acknowledging that, wow, there has to be a space, so if you go up for promotion or whatever the next step in the ladder is for you, that you're acknowledged as someone who's making contributions. Now, I do not have a social media following. I don't post things. My approach is more boots on the ground. Go to the schools, go to the clinic, talk to my clients, really psychoeducation one-on-one. Is that as far reaching? I think it's a protected way for me to avoid misinformation, for sure. So then how does that come up against how I look at the other things coming out? I maybe intentionally, unintentionally, don't pay as much attention to what's out there unless it's something, my teenage clients will tell me something they've seen on social media. Right. Let's talk about it. What's in your feed? What are you curious about? I haven't found a better, more productive way to do it, but I'm also grateful that part of my career, where public education has become an important part of it, that it's honored. And I see it going in that direction. It's just the timing. How do you physically have time to do the science and the write-up and get it out to the public and keep up with all of the media presence? It's tricky. I can share my science, but unless you stay on the track, unless you keep up with it, you post one thing once, you have to keep doing it the whole time, and that feels a little hard for scientists too. I do think that people should get training in social media or presentations. I think engaging the young investigators, the young scientists, because I think there's more of an interest and a willingness and a comfort technologically to really think about these things in a social media presence. And it's kind of interesting with all the teaching, I do a lot of mentoring, and I have learned as much from junior trainees about where they see science and the importance of sharing it with the public as I've been able to teach about the scientific method, right? So I think that really an acknowledgement, continuing to, support junior folks to be able to do both things. This is the next generation of scientists who are going to continue the work, and, letting them know that misinformation is a thing. And how do we avoid it? What are our best practices across the board? And how can we get that information out most effectively? And I always tell trainees, whenever they go to a scientific meeting, I was like, your job here is to introduce yourself to 3 people you've never met before, right? So whether it's someone whose research you really like, or a leader in the field who you're maybe intimidated to talk to, or just someone who might be one of your peers, always meet 3 people so that you can walk away from this meeting having made connections, because I think connections are really the currency for all of it. I feel like just learning about what options are out there, that is something I will pass on to trainees who have never thought about science writing.